I think a lot of what turns the no to the yes is over time consistency, showing multiple sides of the product. Almost, you think about like a 9-sided die, like all the different sides of it, and showing it and doing it in multiple different formats, and as well making sure that we're hitting like the different emotions that are consistent in the customer avatar. Because for a man, there could be multiple emotions that they're tapping into. For a woman, it could be completely different. And so I think a lot of what it is consistency over time, and then as well, making sure we're hitting all the different sides of everything. That's kind of my philosophy on it.
That's pretty cool stuff. So can you talk to me about copywriting persuasion tactics that you have for turning those no's into yeses?
Sure. I mean, tell a different story. Like, I think that copywriting, like the ClickBank VSLs that are very like, I woke up in the middle of the night screaming, and then she knew. Like, they use storytelling,
right?
Because storytelling works really, really well. And so there's likely 5 to 6 stories that are revolving around your customer avatar. I use the oil field metaphor a lot. You've tapped oil in one area. Let's try and find the oil in multiple areas so we can set up those drills there to get other customers. And so there's probably 5 to 6 different stories. How can we tell those different stories? So, if we're using like AI just as a basic example, because I'm not going to, write right now in front of everyone. I would say like a perfect, you get your 5 or 6 ICPs, the 5 or 6 different people that are buying your product. And you ask ChatGPT to give you like a perfect diary entry of a story that they're telling about their experience with the product, specific to them and what they're going through. And I'll get those 5, and then awesome, we got 5 different stories now. I can go and take those, and I can put those, in ads. I can put them in VSLs. I can put them in, I would say emails and ads are the best place to use those. So stories are one way to do it. The other way is kind of thinking about it like that, the conscious mind through logical arguments. Okay, what are the objections that someone would have? I always think about that because like I think that there's only so many different objections. Like when you study sales guys, you realize there's only like a logistics, a time, which is kind of logistics, like an investment kind of thing, like, or it's just they don't need it or they don't think it can help them. Like there's only so many objections that someone can have. So I'll figure out what all those objections are, usually through the research and trying to figure out what it was. Great question to ask on any research call is, what made you almost say no? Like what made you almost say no on that? Why did you say yes? What was it specifically? And figuring those things out. And then from there, writing ads that like a lawyer presenting an argument, I bang out those different
You're
areas.
overcoming those objections before they even enter their mind.
And that's the frequency of like over time. If like they're like, dang, this guy, like, I watched their VSL, I didn't buy, but then like the next day I saw this and that was true. And the next day I saw that and I was like, oh, I also had that. That's when you get into that, oh, I'm speaking their language, or they're speaking my language. They're saying the thing that's going on in my mind better than I could myself. So I say that's another way to go about doing it. And then the last thing that I really like to do is kind of, again, going back to those ICPs, I really focus on what are the emotions that people are experiencing and what are they trying to get. So if you think about it, like we talked about fear, well, the inverse of fear is peace. So if your audience is in a state of fear, then you need to sell peace. Just start the ad with want blank and test with literally just those 2 words, want blank. So if it was, let's say with weight loss, want peace of mind when you step on the scale, want peace of mind at your next doctor's appointment, want whatever, I will just test what are all the different motives we can say, and I'll take those and put them just into that basic want blank formula. So there's so many different tactics and strategies for it. This is why I always say that like tactics and strategies are a dime a dozen. What matters more than anything is like, what are we saying? Like, why are we saying it? So I find with a lot of my clients, they'll come to me and, if it's a one-on-one consulting client, like we had this last week in Nashville where the client's like, oh, we need a VSL. And we start our private day and we're going through and we're collecting a lot of data. And he's like, I don't understand how this ties into the VSL. I'm like, dude, chill. Like, give us an hour. We need to develop all the understanding of who we're speaking to and what we're saying. Then when we moved on to the VSL, like I just wrote it in front of them and they're like, he just got a VSL done in like an hour or 2. It's like, how? Because I had all the information organized beforehand. It's like like trying to cook a meal when you don't have all the ingredients organized versus like when you have everything like portioned out.
Takes so much less time.
That's how I
Why
look at
does it take Rachel Ray 13 minutes to put together the entire thing to go into the oven, but it takes me 4 hours because I'm cutting the garlic and putting it together because I'm chopping all of the vegetables because she's prepared it all.
Exactly.
And so you're preparing it all.
I look at that as the same thing. It's the exact same thing. And so like, I think if people spent more time preparing data based on what their customers are saying and what they are seeing from their market and also what their competitors are saying, because that's usually some of the easiest shortcuts is just let them do the work for you. And then taking it and just, applying it to those different formulas, ADA, PASS, et cetera, STAR, they all work. They're great. It's weird with AI now because like I feel like an old man almost when I say this. Where I'm like I had to do it manually. I had to do it manually.
Shut up. I'm almost double your age. Shut up.
I had to write copy manually. Like I didn't have AI.
I had to write copy manually.
Yeah.
It's so true though. Me and I have a guy on my team. His name is Saka. I absolutely adore him.
Yeah.
And him and I were talking about. You probably remember Richard from my team. He's been with me since the very beginning. Yeah. Richard, he wrote this 12-page thing, and Saka was like, Emma, he's like, I think Richard wrote this whole thing by hand. And we both just had the biggest laugh because he wrote the whole thing by hand. It's like, who does that now? Yeah. I don't even write an email anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but AI. You get what I mean, though. That's why I was
we went off kilter. I'll bring it back. But yeah.
So it's a big thing. Is now it was always about the thoughts. We just had writing as an intermediary. And so now the writing intermediary is gone. We don't need it anymore.
Yep. I'd like to talk for a minute about micro commitments. I find that this is a hack. Yeah. When you can get people to say yes to small things, it makes that bigger purchase so much easier.
Sure.
Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I'd love to chat about that for a minute, what that is and the best ways to set that up.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple. There's a lot of NLP out there on how to create them.
Jason Fladlin.
He loves it.
I actually don't know if he's a big NLP guy, to be honest.
He definitely knows it.
I work with him, so he definitely knows it and understands it, even the way he repeats back what he hears someone say to them to validate them.
Yeah.
But he uses a lot of these micro commitment hacks.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I've leaned in, but go ahead.
Yeah, he does it in the webinars where it's almost the philosophy I think a lot of the VSL and webinars guys have. I'm very similar to him in that within the first couple minutes, I want to create 5 to 10 micro commitments on it. Mm-hmm. So one of the micro commitments, in terms of language, is right. You're saying that it's so frustrating to lose weight, right? And so the person's like, yes, and even though they're not saying it, they are kind of. They're saying it in their head. So that's one version of it. I like to also focus on the outcome that they're trying to get to. By the end of this webinar, you're going to have the exact path that you need to follow to be able to triple your sales as an Amazon store seller. And so the micro commitment there isn't you getting to say yes, it's that I want that thing. And so I'm going to get that at the end. And so I look at micro commitments as almost like open loops. And I want them to commit to closing the loop, So that, is another one as well. I use that one almost unconsciously. I just say, you know what I'm saying is a big one.
Makes sense is my favorite.
Yeah, makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because are you dumb? Do you not understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. So I like that. But the other thing as well that I like to do, and I actually learned this from Ron Lynch, who's a very close mentor of mine. I attribute a lot of my success to him. Uncle Ron. I attribute a lot of success to Ron.
He still comes on my damn Amazon show. I can't figure out how to, he'll just...
he just pops up? Yeah.
Well, he got me one time. We were hanging out, and I was in my Alexa app, and we were talking about how he has his little show.
Yeah.
His little show. I shouldn't say like that.
Yeah.
It's a great show. Yeah. I've read everything Ron Lynch has ever written, including his private collection of writings he sent to me a few years ago.
The Mercenary?
He actually sent me 12, 13 different books that he's written that never got published.
Yeah.
And I consumed them all. So Ron's great. But he showed me on Amazon how I could subscribe to his show.
Oh, so it just pops up always now. Yeah.
And so even when even when it's been a while since he put something out, it's Uncle Ron.
Uncle Ron here. I love you. Yeah, he always does that. And I love you.
And I love you.
So Ron taught me how I think that sometimes what would happen is I do write aggressive copy. I don't write unethical copy, but I'm kind of, and naturally I think in my life I'm a little bit more intense of an individual. And so with my copy, it sometimes gets intense. And what he always talks about is you're building the pain. You want to stop the pain and go to explain them that like, yes, this is your fault, but I'm going to show you how to get out of it. So like, for instance, we're writing for a diabetes offer. And one of the things was, and this is the byproduct of, I was talking about how, blood sugar going up and up and up. And like, in the side effect of that is like, you could have an early death, right? And there's a lot of bad stuff that can happen. And
I almost feel like worse than that. This is what I go to for blood sugar. Yeah. Worse than that, you can lose your sight. You can have no feet.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can go to these little things.
I feel like that's worth the right?
Right? So like whatever the thing is, like you can have all these medical ailments that pop up. What Ron does is then immediately at that point, but don't worry, even though this is something that's due to the behaviors that you've created or habits over time, in this short video, I'm going to show you exactly how to reverse everything to the point where we can get you back to how you felt when you were 20. Now, let's move on. And then he goes back to the pain. So there's a quick, he explains it is, Nick, you can't just punch them in the head 15 times and then be like, now pay attention. Like, you can't do that. He's like, you have to punch them in the face 15 times and then put an ice pack on them, tell them they're a good boy and we love them. And now we move on to the next thing.
Right. Break them down, build them back up.
I look at that as almost like you could call it maybe a variation of a micro commitment. It's again, open loops. So a lot of what I'm doing is it's in the language, it's in like them committing to that they want to change something. And then as well, I like the people will say, for instance, this is not for blank, blank, blank. And all we do when we say that is we just speak to the antagonist of this person. It's usually their shadow that they're in denial about. So it's like, this is not for the person that's looking for fast, easy hacks, who just wants to take a pill and then boom, everything's done. I'm here to tell you today that that's a scam. And you've likely, if you're like me or like my dad, you fell for some of these things and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, right? And then you move on. Like, that's almost like a form of micro commitment, an identity micro commitment. Oh, yes, I align with that.
People wanted to know how to create on TikTok, but I knew that people don't really care about growing a following. They want to make money. So here's how to create great short videos. Here's how to get people's attention. And then here's how to get them from being a follower to actually to the link in your bio to purchase, right? And then I had to revise the course because now TikTok offered all of these ways that you can monetize. Kind of like with YouTube, you're able to get money through views and ads and all that. Well, TikTok launched all of these monetization ways. And so I had to update the course to go, okay, if you want to make money through views, do this. Accidentally, I became an influencer because I had never had 100,000, 200,000 followers. So all the brands started coming along wanting to pay me to create content. Like TikTok came and paid me like a lot of money to create 10 videos to be the face of their holiday campaign. And I was like, I'm an influencer, but I didn't know that I was. So then I had to start teaching coaches, hey, you've got a following, you are an influencer. Here's how to monetize that in addition to your coaching business.
Wow.
Yeah.
So average run-of-the-mill client of yours, they're a business and they're selling what?
Yeah. So the average client, they're two people. One, they're usually selling some type of coaching services, right? They're trying to reach people who want to buy either their mastermind, their digital course, or their consulting. And then the second person is someone that says, I want to become a full-time content creator. I work a full-time job and I want to create content about my life, me and my kids and whatever. And we want to monetize our lives and turn our lives into content and into money. And so I'm teaching both people how to monetize.
So average business, let's say a business that has like a Shopify e-commerce store with a bunch of different gadgets. Should they be on TikTok? Yo, we interrupt this pod to tell you to like and subscribe. What are you doing? Why haven't you liked? Why haven't you subscribed? Just subscribe. What's the problem? In all seriousness, subscribe so that you get notifications every time we drop new content. Additionally, if you have not signed up for our Visionary Vault, what the hell? www.specialopspodcast.com. Go sign up. It's free. We never try and sell you. And we're putting all kinds of stuff in there to help you with the operations of your business because we're passionate about it. And we want to share operational excellence with our direct response e-commerce and online selling family.
Oh, absolutely. Because TikTok Shop is like the number one way to sell any physical products right now. Because the way that TikTok Shop works is multiple things. One, if you have a physical product, you're able to upload your inventory to TikTok and you can sell sell it through your own videos. But also there's the opportunity for the affiliates. So let's just say you sell water bottles. You put your water bottles on TikTok Shop and you said, yes, we want creators to be able to sell it. I will pay them $1, $2, whatever per item that they sell. And now a creator can come along and go into shop and say, ooh, I want to sell that. And then they can either buy the product or they can request the product as a free sample. You ship it to them. And then now this creator creates content for you and they're making money through their shop affiliate link. And you're making a ton of money because they're doing all the work. But then you also then can reach out to those same creators and say, hey, we want to partner with you more. We'll actually boost your videos even more so that you make more and we make more. And so they'll also will increase your percentage. If you're really crushing it with a video, a company will reach out and say, hey, you're our #1 seller. We want to increase your percentage of how much you make per item, and we're going to boost your videos. You know, so some people are just 100% TikTok Shop creators. That's their sole job.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of your clients and like some of the success that they've found following your strategy?
One of my clients, her name is Mercedes. She's a mystery shopper. Initially, she had a mystery shopping business, and I think she had made like $20,000 period. And she didn't really understand how to market her business. And so we taught her just how to create short videos, going into a store and acting like a mystery shopper, but filming it. There was a sound that was called super spy or whatever. So she filmed herself walking through Target like a spy, right? And she put text on screen about being a mystery shopper. She had a link in her bio to buy her mystery shopper course. She posted the video, put her phone down. The next day she had 1.5 million views and she made $20,000 in 7 days from the one short video, $20,000 in 24 hours. And she kept doing it. So now she's made over $3 million in her business, but she started doing that on TikTok and on Facebook. She started growing her Facebook reels and started really, really turning that around to being like a massive success. And it's just these short videos that's leading her people to her bio. It's crazy, right?
Crazy.
Yeah.
So what if someone says like, hey, I just don't have the personality to be on video?
Yeah. So the truth is that like a lot of people, when they meet me, they think that you have to have my personality, like it's very outgoing and all that, but that's not the case. You know, marshmallow, exactly. Like Mercedes, her personality isn't quite like mine, but I have a client of mine and her name is Kathleen. She's very introverted, very muted, very chill. And she teaches people about medicinal mushrooms. And so we were like, okay, just show up in your expertise. And so she showed up in her expertise in her quiet way, teaching. Her video went viral. She gained, I think it was like 2 million views, 50,000 followers in 24 hours, 20,000 people joined her email list from one video. But she just had to be her muted self. Another one of my clients, she's an immigration attorney. And, you know, for most parts, attorneys are very professional. And so she wanted to be very professional. And her goal was she wanted to get 10,000 followers and she wanted to go viral. And I was like, okay, we're gonna do this, right? We had to figure it out. And so we did this video. It did not go viral, but over the weekend, she got 121 calls to her law office and got 10 paid clients. And so she realized she didn't need to go viral. She didn't need 10,000 followers. She needed to just reach her target audience.
Right.
And she did.
Right.
And she doesn't have a big personality at all.
Yeah, lawyers are usually pretty dry on. There's a couple that do really well.
Yeah.
But mostly they're pretty dry on social media.
Because it doesn't require like that. A lot of times we think on social media or on video, we have to have this personality, but that's not the case. You're trying to connect with a human being in whatever way they want to be communicated with. You know, like there's a gynecologist that talks all about like perimenopause and menopause. Well, there's no personality there with her. It's just Dr. Mary and she's just talking and she's teaching, but she has exploded all over the world. And she's the #1 lady everybody calls on for perimenopause and menopause. Oprah, her book was on a New York Times bestsellers list for like 4 months. And she's just a doctor with doctor speak, but speaking to women about what we're all dealing with.
Active and passive retention. The differentiation is active retention is, okay, this guy wants to cancel. What do you do to stop him? Passive is how do you stop them wanting to cancel in the first place? So with something high ticket, you're going to have a lower success chance for the active subscription because if someone's decided not to give you hundreds of dollars anymore, it's a lot harder to say, hey, here's why you should give me that money still than it is to say, okay, can you keep on giving me $50 a month or something to that effect? So passive retention is really the name of the game for masterminds there. That is what we really like to do, give them a reason why they would absolutely never want to quit. You're giving them so much value, and that's one way to do it. You are trying to pre-convince them that there is no reason that they would stop doing this. It's got to be an essential for them. With something like a mastermind where it's a significant amount of their time that is being invested, as well as their money. So really the core of it comes down to how you deliver the product. If they are happy with what's being delivered, if there's a nice balance between the amount of time that you or the client is spending on delivering that service, then it's really going to help you avoid some of those conversations later down the road. If they're not satisfied for some reason, the question is, what's not satisfying them? And how do we build something that's actually a little bit more in line with what they are looking for, what they're expecting? It was something like a mastermind. I mean, this is really kind of critical because it's the entire ecosystem. It's not just the people who are canceling. It's the chilling effect that it has on other people in the mastermind.
When people cancel.
Because, okay, this guy isn't around anymore. Well, he was actually quite a big part of what I enjoyed about the mastermind.
The thing that I think a lot of people need to remember when you're on a monthly subscription, and at Shockwave we have a monthly retainer, same thing. If you do something absolutely phenomenal for someone today that like knocks it over the moon, I've literally had clients say to me, oh my goodness, this paid for Shockwave for the next 5 years. 3 months later, but what have you done for me lately? I want to kind of shift and talk about that. And I want to be, while we're talking about masterminds, we can be specific because this goes to any type of retention. What are some things that we can be thinking about at mile markers? Month 1, we generally see big fall-offs month 1, month 3, month 6, and month 12.
Yeah, just to break that down, that's something that everyone with any kind of subscription needs to be looking at. Like, where do people fall off? And
what is the average percentage first month retention? 40%, right?
Yeah.
Across the board, depending on industry, about 40%.
Definitely around there. It's not most people, particularly if you've got something like a trial offer. That's going to really drive those numbers down. But yeah, I mean, the question is, where are people falling off and what can you give them so that you've done something for them recently? We've had quite a few memberships in the past where we roll out incentives to stick past the common fail rates. Like, okay, I'm going to unlock this bonus lesson for you when you've been a member for 3 months, which just happens to
unlock it on
just happens to be when you
right when the average person drops off.
Yeah, you'll see it with like HelloFresh or something like that. They have those very specific mile markers that are going to be very much laid out based on when people stop.
Doe's Coffee, the mushroom coffee place, they did a phenomenal job of it because they give you free crap every month, and like the months that they have the retention is good, it's like a sticker. The months it's not, it's like this dual froster with 8 speeds.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a question. Again, this is all passive retention. It's taking away any reason for them to say, well, this.
Why am I getting this still?
Yeah, you take away that question and you have this immediately better portfolio for retention. Like obviously numbers of retained sales, they don't look as good because there's less people trying to leave, but you keep the people, you keep them around. I don't think we can discuss the actual percentages for Ignite. But
no, certainly not.
Fantastic.
But yeah, it's fantastic with Ignite. But I think the big reason why Ignite has, like, I wouldn't even want to give retention numbers for Ignite Mastermind because it's so out of what anyone else's numbers would ever be.
Completely.
And I honestly think, okay, so you got a couple of elements. You got a few ingredients here. The first ingredient is Perry Belcher.
Definitely.
Godfather of marketing. He's been doing this a long, long time. Dude's 60. He's been doing this a long, 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 long time. And he's been in the shoes of every marketer, every level, several times, because he's started over several times. So he truly understands what they want. And he spends a lot of time, probably more time than any visionary entrepreneur owner I've ever dealt with, thinking about what do I give to them new this month? What do I do for them this month? How do I make them better this month? And he also spends a lot of time asking questions to his people and training customer service to do the same. How is this going for you? What would you like to see? He has multiple people on staff that build community and talk to his client base to make sure. But I want to move on now to, okay, I want a refund. What are some points of retention we can use to keep that from happening?
Sure. I mean, this is really a case of figuring out your reasons for people wanting to.
I never signed up for this, said everyone.
Yeah. So that's going to be a pretty common one. So in those cases, it's really going to be a case of, well, they definitely wanted the product in the first place. So what can you do to keep them on that path? Like they do on some level want to be there. It's a case of figuring out
They just don't want to pay for it.
Where you can drop the price to while keeping it profitable for yourself, while keeping it effective for them.
So generally speaking, we don't recommend dropping prices, though you can. We don't none of our offers drop prices. If you can't pay, you're not a hell yes. If you're not a hell yes, you're a hell no, get out. That's how we do things. But there are people who are in the supplement space that they get the product and now you're out the money if you take it back. So you may as well drop the price to cover your costs. So there are times where that makes sense. There are times that they don't. When you're dealing with masterminds, clubs, SaaS, anything like that, you don't want to reduce your pricing because you'll reduce your room and your community. And I say SaaS really depends. If you've got like community boards and stuff like that, you don't want to do that. But if you're selling supplements, physical goods, info products that are one-offs, it's really easy for me to say, hey, Tiago, I understand that you didn't realize. First of all, the number one thing is don't argue with them that they knew or that they should have known or that they're stupid for not knowing or it's in clear print. I see this all the time. We go in to evaluate customer service. We evaluate the entire business, but we get into customer service. And we've got customer service managers taking screenshots of the checkout pages that the person saw 3 months ago and sending it to them like, you should have read. I met you because you worked for a company that used to call their people twats for asking for a refund. No kidding. So first and foremost, I am so sorry that was your experience. That is not how we meant it. I will make sure the marketing team understands that our customer, you, Tiago, didn't see that. So perhaps we need to look at how we're marketing. That aside, I'm really sorry for your experience, but that aside, I really want to make your experience a good one. So if it's an info product, I'll generally take, I don't give a fuck if it's $5,000 in info products and you bought a $100 thing. I would love to unlock at $997 value for your $97. You'll pay nothing more. And I like to give that to you in lieu of a refund so that you can walk away with a smile on your face because I really believe that this program is great for you. It costs me nothing to give them. Nothing. If it's a supplement, I want my money back. If I'm not going to be able to, turn that around, we've written ebooks and we've written content to say, hey, in lieu of a refund, we'd love for you to keep the bottle and we'd love to give you this free recipe book to go with your weight loss supplement to, accelerate your weight loss. And if it doesn't work out for you in like 45 days, you can call us back and we'll refund you anyway. They'll forget about it. That generally works. But if they're like, no, I'm adamant, I want my money back. If the bottle cost me $8 and it cost me $9 to send it to them, how about in lieu of a full refund, you keep the bottle? Because I do believe that you'll really like the results that you get. I guarantee it's going to work for you. See the difference? I do believe you're going to like or enjoy the results you get. I'd love to go ahead and give you a partial refund and you just cover our costs. And so I can offer you X amount today. So we like to do that as well, just so we cover our hard costs, particularly on physical goods and products. You kind of get the idea of what we're talking about. Feel free to put your questions in the comments. www.specialopspodcast.com. Sign up for our Visionary Vault. We never try and sell you anything. We have tons of courses, checklists, GPTs, all kinds of stuff in there. Free for you guys all the time. We just want to add value to our community. Thank you and see you next time.